Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. This is the story of a Utah raptor named Nephthys. He hatched from his egg in pitch-black darkness. The shadows wrapped around him like a blanket, yet he felt no fear, for he knew they would never harm him. The darkness was his ally, his only companion. Alone, he stumbled out of the cave where he was born. The blinding sun greeted him, harsh and strange against his eyes. He looked around, but the world was silent. No call, no movement, nothing. Nephthys ran, his claws striking the ground with desperate rhythm, searching for someone, anyone. But no one came. The world was empty. Hunger gnawed at his mind as he wandered. He came across a narrow cave, far too small for his size, but desperation drove him to dig. Suddenly, a small critter bolted out. Nephthys froze for a heartbeat, then lunged, instincts flaring, but it was gone before his claws could touch it. Panting, he pressed on. Soon he stumbled upon a scattering of bones. His heart leapt with hope, and he barked into the emptiness, calling for his family. Only silence answered. With nothing else, he gnawed at the bones, hoping to taste the sweet marrow inside. But his young jaws were too weak. Frustrated and starving, he abandoned them, wandering on. Every so often, he cried out again for his kin, but no reply came. He was truly alone. Then, hiss, he spun to his left. A massive snake slithered from the brush, tongue flicking. Nephthys' instinct surged. Without hesitation, he lunged and sank his teeth into its scaled body. The struggle was fierce, but at last the snake was still beneath his jaws. At last, his first meal. He devoured it hungrily, eyes scanning the shadows. Every bite was rushed, for he knew the scent of blood could draw others. When his stomach was filled, he bolted, vanishing into the rain-soaked wilds, silent, wary, and ever-moving. Days passed. Rain hammered the earth, soaking Nephthys to the bone as he wandered. He had grown stronger, his body lean, his claws sharper, his instincts keener, yet he did not stop. His claws carried him forward, never lingering in one place for too long. Pausing, he lifted his head, scanning the empty horizon. Nothing, only the endless curtain of rain. A hollow sound broke the storm, his own bark, sharp and desperate, echoing in the distance. But only the rain replied. With a low whine, Nephthys lowered his head and pressed on, the silence of the world heavier than the storm above. Another day came, and with it the same mission, survival. As Nephthys ran through the dripping forest, he stumbled upon another strange burrow. His claws tore at the earth, digging with urgency. Then, movement. A small creature darted out. Nephthys lunged, jaws snapping, but the critter was fast. Again and again he struck, missing more often than not, but landing a few glancing bites. The hunt was clumsy, yet his instincts sharpened with every attempt. Then the creature vanished into the undergrowth. Nephthys froze, listening. A faint scuttle, a whimper of sound. Nose to the ground, he sniffed, tracing the tiny footprints through mud and leaf. The noise came again. With a growl, he surged forward, chasing the sound, until at last his teeth closed around warm flesh. Victory. He tore into his prize quickly, scanning the shadows for danger. Predators were always near. Always moving, never staying in one place for long. Nephthys had grown familiar with the land. Seasons of wandering had stretched him from hatchling to juvenile. His body lean, his claws sharper, his instincts keener. One day, while running through the damp woods, he came upon a river. Its waters shimmered under the pale light, a place he had never seen before. He raced toward it, leaving behind Rockfall Hill and slipping into Snake Gully. Lowering his head, he drank deeply, the cool water filling his throat. When he was done, he turned back, retracing his path toward the safety of Rockfall Hill. Exhausted, he found a scattering of old bones and curled within them, taking a brief nap. Awakening with hunger gnawing once again, he pressed on. Another burrow caught his eye. Digging fiercely, he flushed out a small critter, but instead of fleeing, it tried to burrow back underground. Nephthys lunged before it could vanish, crushing it in his jaws. He ate quickly, filling his belly, then tore away chunks of meat to carry with him. Moving on, he reached a lake, a new stretch of Rockfall Hill he had not yet explored. A hiss cut through the silence. A snake slithered nearby, but Nephthys was already full, his mouth holding scraps of his last kill, so he ignored it, moving on with careful steps. He soon spotted a cave, wide, dark, and unwelcoming. His instincts told him to avoid it, so he turned away. But not far from it, he found another, smaller, quieter, almost hidden. This one felt safe. Curling inside, Nephthys lowered his head to rest. The shadows welcomed him as they always had, and he slept. Months passed. Nephthys was no longer a child. He had grown into an adolescent, his body hardened by struggle, his strength sharpened by endless wandering. His jaws, once too weak to crack bone, now splintered them with ease. The marrow inside was not as rich as fresh meat, but bones were plentiful and quick to feed upon. He learned to eat fast, never lingering, before vanishing back into the night. His feathers, once faint with color, had deepened into black, blending him seamlessly into the shadows. To look upon him now was to stare into the darkness itself, a predator made nearly invisible by the very ally that had watched over him since birth. Onward he hunted. Another burrow, another desperate critter clawing for escape. But Nephthys was faster, sharper, no longer hesitant. He struck with precision, catching it before it could flee, swallowing it whole. Yet he found less satisfaction now. Small prey no longer eased his hunger. His instincts demanded more. Bigger prey, greater challenges. He had grown into a sub-adult, his strength at its peak. The sun glinted off his black feathers, making him appear even darker against the bright terrain. Leaving Rockfall Hill behind, he raided one last burrow, filling his stomach, then drank at Snake Gully before pressing onward, guided only by instinct. He wandered into strange lands, far from home. A herd of parasaurs grazed ahead, their calls echoing across the plains. Hunger tempted him, but he knew he was not ready, not yet. Even a young one would bring the wrath of the herd. He slipped by, silent, careful, unseen. Time passed. Instinct drove him forward, and eventually he became a true adult. The land shifted before him, blackened trees of a burnt forest, then a river, its waters rushing and cold. One final obstacle remained. Nephthys plunged into the river, swimming with powerful strokes until he reached the far bank. Shaking water from his feathers, he climbed into the forest beyond, vast and unknown. For the first time, he rested not as a child, not as a wanderer, but as a predator grown, a shadow among shadows, alone but unstoppable. That's it for today's story. If you enjoyed watching, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more adventures. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.